Hello, happy Tuesday. It's Bex here with another Tune Up Tuesday where I support you in tuning your heart to the frequency of love. Oh my goodness, happy Tuesday. Hey, gorgeous. How have you been? Okay, today I am talking about how do we do this? Oh gosh. So I'm just going to start from the top here because I talk to a lot of women in my community who are looking for love and they experience a lot of frustration, disappointment. Here, I've got some of the symptoms. Competitiveness. Like, we see somebody out with, we see a couple out and we start comparing ourselves to the woman that this man might be with and like asking ourselves, well, what does she have that I don't have? Competitiveness, controlling, like trying to manipulate and control situations to land in our favor or to control the outcome of a certain situation. Like, actually, this is a really great example. One of my clients, she really wants to meet somebody in real life, not online, and she's been finding like really incredible guys in her daily out and aboutness. And but there's a few of them that she's not speaking to, and she's like, well, I don't know if they're available. I don't even know if they're playing for my team. And it's like, well, that's great. Is that a hindrance to you saying, hey, how's it going? Or like, hey, are you having a good day? And that's just a micro example of like how we will manage our behavior or try to control the outcome and behave accordingly. So we've got controlling, we've got competition, competitiveness. What else do we experience in love that makes us eye roll and gag and like flip the table and walk out? Criticism and judgment. Sometimes that's reflected outward on the men, these poor, lovely men that we throw all of our criticism and judgment towards, like, they're just, there are no good men out there. Or all the good ones are taken. I mean, those are the classic ways that shows up, but how else does it show up? I can't get a man to commit. I only attract unavailable men. Men just aren't interested in commitment. Men are only interested in one thing. So criticism and judgment outward, criticism and judgment inward on ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me? What the F am I doing wrong? Those are two of the biggest ones that I hear from women in my community. Hey, thanks for joining. Today we're talking about some of the big things that keep us from attracting love, and how we typically address it is we go deep into overanalyzing, or we're trying to control the outcome, or we're doing a lot of reading or research or writing or talking about it, which is all helpful. Don't get me wrong. But one of the things that we are on this loop of experiencing frustration and disappointment, not getting what we want in love, we end up on this slippery slope of digging deeper, trying harder, researching, reading, asking, writing, talking, doing more, and that just spins us deeper in this pattern of frustration and disappointment. Now, I'm not saying that we can't find answers and we can't find some support. For sure, that is super beneficial. But one of the things that, when we're really efforting really hard, some of the outcomes or some of the symptoms that we experience are getting angry or getting overwhelmed or feeling like we're not even having any fun anymore. Give me some hearts in the window or throw me a comment below if that's your experience. You're not having any fun anymore. There's no joy in the process. Or we're trying to control things, or we're trying too hard, or we're feeling competitive. We're feeling the comparison game going on quite a bit. And these are some of the symptoms that we're really trying too hard and not putting our effort in the right direction. Okay. So again, coming back to what tends to happen the women in my community is that we see these things going on and we're asking ourselves, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And so therefore we try to figure it out, and we try harder to figure it out. And oftentimes we're really stuck up here, trying to think our way into the solution, trying to figure out why it is that something is such a way, instead of taking a deep breath and being in a presence state of accepting what is and looking internally for solutions. What? I've got a love coach telling me to look within? Yeah, actually. So one of the things that happens when we get really stuck in our head is that we're cutting off all of our other intellect, all of our other intelligence inputs. What do I mean by that? Well, our logic, our brain, our beautiful, clever brains are just one way that we receive information. Other ways that we receive information are through our emotions. How are we feeling at any given moment? And the women that I work with know this. This is one of the things that we work on very, very strongly is, especially if you're out in a dating practice, how are you feeling when you're engaging with an individual that you might potentially want to date or that's pursuing you? How do you feel in the presence of his company? How do you feel the way that he's showing up for you, the way that he's pursuing you or not pursuing you? How do you feel in those experiences? Your emotions are really, really perceptive intellect inputs. So your emotions are one. What are the other intellect inputs that we just completely neglect when we're stuck up in our head? So we've got our emotions, we've got our senses, sensations, which can be any of our 5 sensory inputs: sight, taste, touch, smell, hearing. And these are the things that we can take them in, but we're not always really receiving the messages that they're sending. So an example of this would be, let's go back to that potential date that we're engaging with and we're interacting with. And when we hear him say something like, well, let's just keep the plans open and see where this goes. Or let's, I'm not really able to nail down a time. My work is really scattered this week. So why don't we circle back maybe over the weekend and see what happens? Well, first of all, let's go back to the emotions, because that doesn't feel really good. I mean, if you want to be pursued and you want to make some concrete plans, that doesn't feel good. But then when we think about like the sensory input and how that sounds to us, well, first of all, it's not in alignment with what perhaps you actually desire, but how that sounds, what can we hear between the lines? What can we hear that isn't being said? Okay, so we've got these sensory inputs, and I'll also include in that sensory input is like internal sensations, like, so not just the way that our 5 senses are taking information, but how our body is responding. So if you are in a conversation with somebody, a potential date, or somebody that you're already in relationship with, and you start to feel a constriction in your throat, or you start to feel heat in your face, maybe you know that you're getting flushed, or you're feeling a tightness of breath or tightness in your chest. Or for me, I know that there's a very certain emotion that triggers a sensation, a stinging right behind the bridge of my nose. If we can start to pay attention to these sensory inputs, these sensations in our body, this is more information that our experience is giving us than just what our head, our logic can produce. Okay, so we've got emotions, we've got sensations, both the 5 senses and also the internal sensations. And then we've got our intuition. My love, this is the voice of your heart. I also believe that our intuition is like a direct line to the divine speaking through us and giving us resonance or discord with whatever experience that we're having. So there's so many different ways that we can access that aspect of ourselves, the voice of our heart, the intuition. And I'll give you one of them. One of the ways that I have always acted, like have always gotten into here, has been through movement. So for those of you who've been following me for a while know that my history has been in movement. I used to be a movement teacher, professional dancer, choreographer, Pilates teacher, personal trainer. And when I've been in that space of like just 100% in my body, it helps me get out of this overactive thinking state and into not only flow with my body, but also my breath, and therefore helps me access this area of my heart, my intuition, giving me more answers, more clarity of either what I want, what it looks like, or the next steps that I'm meant to take. So what I'm talking about here, I like to call it an activated state. So for any of you out there who are attracting great love, attracting outrageous love, and you feel like you are either in that critical, judgmental, or overwhelmed, or overactive, over analytical place, if you feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill, then my invitation to you is to work on getting into this activated state. So that means putting the Tinder down and maybe taking a rest from it for a little while, or even deactivating an online dating profile. I know it's such a crazy thing for a love coach to say, but here's the thing. When women start working with me, I take a little evaluation, and sometimes that's the very first piece of homework is like, okay, we're unplugging from all of your online dating sites, from all of your online dating profiles until we get right in here. And getting right in here means creating this activated state. And I wrote about this in a recent email because for me, what an activated state means is being really connected with all those other all those other inputs, not just my head, right? So it's accessing my senses, all of what that means. It means accessing my emotions and all of what that means, and then accessing my intuition and all of what that means. So these are where the clues are embedded, right? These are where the answers are when we can't think our way into the answer. You know, I'll post this tomorrow, but when I think I was like in high school, graduated high school, my mother, hi Mom, she gifted me a card, and I still have it. I took a picture of it. But I'll read it for you. It's this really beautiful quote. I can pull it out right here because I keep it very close at hand. And it's a card. And the quote is from Rainer Maria Rilke, which you may have probably heard this. You may have come across it, but it might be the right time for you to hear it again. And it says, I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, or maybe more soon, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. And this is so beautiful. I love this so much because from this point, I can look back on my love attraction journey and say, wow, you know, when Nick and I met, we discovered that he had photographs of me performing at a gig 2 years before we ever spoke. And so this quote really resonates with me because, you know, if those answers were given to me then, like and Nick and I have talked about this, had we met back then, when he took those photographs of me, like, it would have been a shit show. Like we may or may not have ended up where we are today. So I love this idea that these answers are just like clues on our path, and that we wouldn't know what to do with them if everything was revealed to us in the immediate moment. So the invitation again is to come back to to create this activated state so that you are just in this outrageously connected relationship with yourself, because that's the place that magnetizes not only great love, but great opportunities, great connections, clear paths for your next steps in love and beyond. So I'll leave you with one more thing. I mentioned that my access point to this activated state has been through dance and movement. But there, like I said, there's so many ways of creating that activated state within. And one of the very foundational pieces of homework that I give my clients, again, is sometimes it's taking a break from the online dating profiles, but always, it's creating sacred solo time in your life. And what that means is it's carving out at least 10 minutes of your day. And listen, sister, if you can't find 10 minutes of unobstructed time in your day, then we've got some bigger conversations to have, okay? So I'll drop a link, and if this is a big struggle for you, then maybe we need to have a conversation about this. But it's 10 minutes of unobstructed time, meaning you're not on your phone. It's okay to listen to music, but you're not on your phone, you're not reading, you're not consuming content, but you are free of technology. Again, music is okay. And you are with yourself, either with your breath or your heartbeat or your body or your connection with spirit. And I like to start at 10 minutes and move up from there, but at a minimum of 10 minutes a day. And, I shoot for 10 minutes every single day of the week. Now, here's the thing about that. That may not always be possible. So if you can shoot for 4 days, then at least you're hitting the majority of the week. So that is one way, the sacred solo time, technology-free, unobstructed time. Mark it in your calendar, hold it like an appointment, and hold it like a non-negotiable. So put that practice into your practice, into your routine, and see what shifts for you, see what opens up. Because when you start to prioritize yourself and your heart, your spirit, and all these other inputs, then we start to dial down that frustration and that competition, that judgment, that criticism, because you're really ramping up the love with yourself and within. Okay, so I hope that this is super helpful. And as always, if this is something that you would like some support with, I have some space right now in my private coaching practice, and I will drop a link in the body of the post here where you can apply to book a call with me. We'll get on the phone and we'll see if it's a good fit and see if coaching is the right next step for you. No strings attached, and if nothing less, you walk away with some information, some feedback, and perhaps a couple of steps that you can take on your own to prepare for coaching sometime in the future. So I hope this has been helpful, and thank you so much for joining me for another Tune Up Tuesday. It's always such a pleasure to gift you some of the wisdom of the path that I've walked on. And as always, I'm here to answer your questions. So if anything comes up for you, if you have a situation or a scenario, a block in your love life that you would like support around, shoot me a PM here or drop a comment in the comment section below this video. I love you so much, and I'll see you again here next Tuesday. Have a good week. Bye.